Hello from the Literacy Link South Central EdTech research team. This is my colleague, Carolina Cahoon.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm Jeremy Marks, and Carolina and I have worked to develop a series of e-bulletins called AI Bytes that are going to be forthcoming. But before you have an opportunity to take a look at those, we would like to introduce you to an AI assistant program that we have developed for LBS practitioners. And our goal is to give you a crash course in how this assistant works so that LBS practitioners can incorporate generative AI into their daily teaching practice.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that wonderful introduction. So this chatbot is very special because it has been created with the LBS heart in mind. It has the Ontario Adult Literacy Curriculum Framework, and it also has the competencies from Universal Design for Learning. So we're very excited to show you how this works.
All right, so we are going to take you through, I don't know what we would call it. It's not, kind of like developing a mock lesson plan. And so with this, what we're going to show you is that this assistant can help you take your existing creative ideas and match those with the Ontario Adult Literacy Curriculum Framework. That way you can develop your curriculum and activities faster and more efficiently, while at the same time being true to the goals as well as the milestones within the framework.
A few things to clarify. This is completely free and it is available at po.com, LBS Assistant. We will make sure to share the link with you. And well, shall we get started?
Yes, let's do it. Okay.
So we will first start with a mock activity. Perhaps let's think about the milestones, milestone 54, and how we would teach learners to create a password. So let's ask the chatbot to help us create an OALCF activity for a level 2 learner. Let's see what happens on password, sorry.
All right, so what I'm typing in here is, can you help us create an LBS level 2 activity focused on creating passwords? And I am typing slowly to make sure that I don't include any typos. All right, so I've input that question or that prompt. I hit the send message arrow. Now we wait to see what it provides us. Okay, so as you can see right away, you get a very quick response. And then what we're able to do is we can scroll down and see what the bot has suggested. All right, so already it's provided us with the learning objective, the materials that we need to use, and then also, as you can see here, it's listed the steps involved in the task. It's given us a time frame for how long that should take. It provided some brainstorming exercises. And then also it's provided guidelines for password creation. And then it moves us on to a group activity. So what you can see is that this is a form right away of lesson planning. It even includes portions for presentation and discussion, as well as a reflection and application activity, and then a wrap up. So one of the things that I think it's important to emphasize about this, and this is something that we've had come up in conversations with educators, is that one of the advantages of using an AI chatbot is not that it replaces your expertise and not that it does your thinking for you. It is a prompt. It's a way of getting, as I like to put it, your creative juices flowing. So if you've had an opportunity to work with the OALCF before, which obviously all of you have, this is a great way of getting right to the heart of a milestone and then thinking about ways to help learners not only meet that milestone, but to think of creative ways of helping them have a meaningful experience as they pursue that milestone. So one thing that I would add about that is that this is a great place to get started, but when you use an AI chatbot, it's not as if you have to follow it word for word. This might even just get you thinking, okay, here's some really interesting ideas. How do I take those and then come up with my own? Or how do I use those and extrapolate them into something I'm doing? But the other advantage of being able to use a chatbot is that you can hone in on or zero in on certain aspects of this and ask it to provide you with further details.
Absolutely. And something that you may notice is that AI is not perfect. So we did ask it to do something with level 2. It is indeed, but you can see a minor mistake here into the task group. It says D1, which is not the level 2. So just keeping an eye on that it is actually used as a tool. And sometimes it makes a few mistakes, but generally all the steps are there. One helpful aspect of it, if you could please type for me,
Certainly.
is I would like to ask this chatbot, I would like to present a scenario about a learner who is having troubles remembering passwords. I'm going to ask it for some strategies to help me with that.
All right, so what I'm putting here is, can you present us with a scenario involving a learner who experiences difficulty remembering passwords? Anything you want me to add to that, or does that seem like a good starting point?
Maybe it can, let's see what it does. Give us a wonderful scenario there.
Yep, our hypothetical learner even has a name, Sarah.
Who has difficulties remembering passwords.
So as you can see right away, it offers suggestions about how the instructor can begin by introducing Sarah to the concept of strong passwords and the importance of using unique and secure passwords for different accounts. So it starts out by establishing that not only the learner understands the importance of the exercise, but that even invites a discussion with the learner about why it is that they're going to want to take some additional time to focus on mastering a skill that they may find difficult. So in other words, it emphasizes how there is something here that is, as we say, in it for the learner. It's not just something that they have to do because it's part of the curriculum, but specifically it's something that'll be of direct value and use to them.
And it there provides a recommendation as well. Like, what about the password manager application, right? Like, for example, how many of us instructors would think about that, teaching right away how to use a password manager application and how to start there. So this is the beauty of AI, that it always provides a fresh ideas for teaching, something that we may not have thought about.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that that's an excellent point, because one of the things that I personally appreciate about this is that it provides me with, the bot, I should say, provides me with some insight into how it functions, and also insight into other software programs that I might not yet be familiar with. And so I think where this can be especially valuable with instructors is that instructors bring to the bot their expertise in teaching LBS. But this is also an opportunity for them to do a bit of exploration and learning themselves about how to integrate technology and software into their existing teaching practice. So I like emphasizing this because, again, it is not an attempt to make instructors feel as though the bot is capable of doing their work for them. It's really to see the bot as, and it's in the title that we've given to it, an assistant, there to provide you with support and assistance. It is not there to replace your expertise.
Absolutely, Jeremy. So the next activity I would like to show you, if we could click on this little broom that is on the side, we will clear the context. And this is very important every time you start a new topic. So I want to share with you an additional activity. And this time it will be about analyzing an activity actually that has been developed, and just to check on it and see how we can make it a little bit more inclusive. So we will upload a potential activity. It is on matching fractions. So maybe we should share with you the fractions first before we upload it, so that you have an idea of what that looks like. As you can see, there are many visuals here, and it specifically says what fraction of each shape is colored, and circle the correct answer. So we will find out what the chatbot tells us about that, and perhaps how to make some improvements. So we will upload that same activity that we have. And we will ask it a question. How can we make it more inclusive?
One of the great things about this is that now that the fraction matching PDF has been uploaded, the bot is able to draw from that content in responding to our questions. All right, so how should we frame this?
Yes, how can we make this task aligned to universal design for learning? Maybe let's start there.
All right, so how can we make this fractions task align with, I'll just say, the principles of universal design for learning. All right, let's see what it says. And I don't even have to click the arrow. I can even just press enter and it will process what I have inputted.
Yeah, and we can also use the little microphone as well if you'd rather do any type of dictation.
Yes, it's another example of how the bot is actually well suited for universal design for learning principles, because if you find that you work better and faster using dictation, or also your learners work faster with dictation, that option is there.
And one other aspect that I wanted to share is, remember, we ensured that one of the parameters was to follow clear language guidelines.
That's right.
Which is a fantastic thing about this chatbot that is actually following that.
Yes.
The writing is very clear. So here is the information it's sharing with us. So it's suggesting to provide multiple means of representation for the fractions. So you can see that it's actually on topic.
Yes.
And it's telling that what could be confusing. And let's see, shares the views on action and expression as well. And it makes suggestions about, for example, breaking down the task into smaller manageable parts, and provides scaffolds, some ideas for engagement.
I think in particular, the part about multiple means of engagement can be very useful, because if you have learners who have a range of different strengths in terms of how they learn, using that UDL framework can be very helpful, because you can actually get you could provide some very specific questions about how would I make this activity better suited to someone who learns better by doing, or who learns better by hearing, and so on. And it will be able to provide some very specified suggestions. And again, one of the things that I personally like about this is that, you may have a lot of experience working with learners who have, different needs and are accustomed to working with many different learning modalities, but this can bring to bear UDL very quickly and very rapidly, and you can use that to connect with your, again, existing expertise and experience. So that's one of the features here that I really like about it, rather than having to go to the CAST guidelines at the UDL website. Since that information has already been incorporated into the learning of the specific bot, you can ask it questions and it's going to provide you with that information right away.
And you can carry on conversation after you uploaded this task, and you can ask it more questions about specific learner needs, right?
Yes.
So it's a fantastic tool. So this is what we mean about the fantastic use of artificial intelligence, is that we can continue this conversation more and more and more. So it just doesn't need to end there.
Yeah, and what I think I would add to that, because I very much agree, is that, and I'll use my own personal example, when I first learned about universal design for learning principles, I immediately encountered the guidelines that are included in the chart for UDL, and immediately thought, okay, well, where do I begin? How do I process the information? How do I read this chart in a manner that's going to be very helpful for me in my teaching practice? And in the years since I've learned about UDL, I've had a lot of practitioners ask me that question. Now, one of the things we know about universal design for learning is the starting point is one that you choose. It's not something where UDL says you have to start here and finish here. With that in mind, this bot can be very helpful, because it's going to provide UDL information based on the nature of your question or the prompt that you have written. And again, I particularly like that, because then what I'm essentially doing is asking the bot to bring UDL to bear in ways that are useful specifically for me. And the more that I do this and the more questions I ask, the more I'm going to start learning about and assimilating UDL principles just by doing my job, not by necessarily feeling I have to go outside and do UDL specific research. And I think from a time saving standpoint, That's very valuable, but at the same time, you're still getting that professional development in the process of using the bot, which again, in my opinion, is a very nice feature of working with generative AI and this bot specifically.
No, absolutely. So just to carry on with that conversation, maybe we could provide an activity. Maybe it could create an activity specifically for someone, for example, who prefers tactile learning.
Certainly.
So let's give it a try and see what it does.
Okay, and I think in this case, we can build off of what we've already got here, so we don't need to refresh it. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so the question when writing AI prompts is always, am I writing a really clear prompt that is going to give me more or less the answer or the solution that I am looking for? So I could do this as, can you provide me with say, an exercise suited to a learner who prefers tactile learning? Does that sound clear enough to you?
I think so. Let's give it
Okay.
a try.
Nice thing too is that if you find that the answers that you get are not clear enough, you can always go back and refine your prompt.
And I just love that language. So
Yes.
certainly, it's always so
Yes.
happy to help you. And this is the thing with AI. It never gets tired. So you can do this 24/7 and you can ask it for more and more and more examples. And it just keeps carrying on,
Yeah.
right?
That's why I often feel like I need to put please and thank you into my prompts.
So look at that. It's
Yeah.
giving us fraction manipulatives.
Yes.
Understand and match fractions using tactile manipulatives. So this is fantastic. It's giving us tiles, fraction bars, puff paint.
Yeah.
Right?
I would not have thought of that. I am not a tactile learner by nature. And so I particularly appreciate the fact that, again, it very quickly provides examples of exercises that I would not necessarily have considered unless I was working with a learner who said, well, I learn best this way. This is how I would prefer to do it. But the nice thing about this is that you don't actually have to take the time necessarily to ask the learner to show you how they learn best. You can present them with some options, and then they too can choose which approach to learning suits them best.
No, this is fantastic. Okay, are you ready for one more demonstration?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so we will clear the topic again, just to ensure that we ask for new context.
Yes.
So this tool can also be used to explain artificial intelligence, but in clear language. So let's ask it some questions regarding artificial intelligence that could be a little bit confusing sometimes.
Okay.
For example, let's see how it explains the concept of machine learning.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna, like I said, I like manners and I like how nice the bot is. So I'm gonna say, can you please explain the concept of machine learning? And the nice thing too, because we have designed this with plain language in mind, I don't have to specifically ask it to explain it in plain language. But as we'll see with the explanation, if there's something I'm not certain about, I can always ask it further. All right, I'm just making sure I have no typos here. Can you please explain the concept of machine learning? All right, here we go.
Okay, and it tells you machine learning is a concept within the field of artificial intelligence that focuses on enabling computers to learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a general explanation on machine learning as well.
And you'll notice too that the type of language and terminology it uses is not specifically AI, AI technical language. It's designed to put the concept of machine learning into more basic or more general terms and concepts, which are easier to grasp, which is something that I have discovered somewhat humorously that when I think I understand machine learning and then I go to a more, let's say, academic or expert literature, I very quickly realize that I don't know quite as much as I thought that I did, because again, that terminology, much of it is still a bit over my head. So that is something embedded within the bot that I certainly appreciate.
Fantastic. You're right. So let's try to create an activity now for a learner with OALCF to explain machine learning.
Okay.
Let's challenge the machine. This is the very first time, by the way, we're actually doing this.
Yep.
We've been testing it, but you're testing it with us right now.
All right. So I'm very much gonna think out loud here and see what we can come up with. So can you please provide us with a learning activity that explains or demonstrates? What do you think?
I would go with explain first,
Okay.
and then, yeah, demonstrate would be a little bit more advanced, I think.
That explains machine learning to an LBS. What do you think, level 1 learner?
Let's give it a try. And I just love that positive language. It's like, sure. And look how instantly it does that.
Yes. Sorting objects with machine learning. And the objective here is to introduce the concept of machine learning and its application in sorting objects. And again, I always like the fact that it starts by providing us, based on the OALCF guidelines, with a learning objective. So it's always clear to the instructor as well as the learner what the purpose of this exercise is.
And look how creative it is with the materials needed, correct? Red objects, blue objects.
Yep. Toys, fruit, stationery.
Explain the concept.
Yes.
And this is fantastic. And this is the whole idea behind machine learning, explaining that computers can also learn to sort objects using a process.
Well, and I like that too, because again, with my basic understanding of what the purpose of artificial intelligence is that by going back to the basics of computing, right? Sorting, processing. I mean, this is what computer technology is about. So I really like the fact that this is a starting point for thinking about what a technology or a software like AI can do to help us as learners and instructors sort and organize the information that we are exposed to on a regular basis. So I really like that connection, that tactile connection that the bot is making right away.
Now, something else to clarify to you as well is that this chatbot is not aimed to talk about, any topic like the other chatbots. It's specifically fed on data related to the OALCF, Universal Design for Learning, and artificial intelligence. And we're continuously improving it. So we suggest that you give it a try. And just let us know. Let us know, give us feedback if there's anything missing as well. It should be able to provide you with some feedback related perhaps to some software that you could use. And again, we are continuously updating it and testing it. So give it a try and write to us at EdTech at
LLSC.
Yeah.
.on.
Yeah,
.ca.
Yep. We will make sure we write that email address. I apologize. It's a brand new address. So as you could see, I didn't have it. But anyways, we will make sure to share with you the link to this chatbot and also the email so that you can provide us with some feedback. And again, thank you for your time. And thank you, Jeremy, for helping me. And yeah, we look forward to your feedback. I mean, really at the heart of this is the understanding that the user, the learner, the instructor becomes the expert and therefore can provide the best expert advice on how to make the bot work even better and more efficiently. So again, we welcome your input. Thank you again. Thank you. Bye.